Okay, here we have a 2010 EZGO RXV. This one here has a few issues. The first one is the brake pedal doesn't lock. So we got to take that assembly apart and see what the hell's going on with that. I'm hoping it's just a linkage that came loose. The other issue is I have a feeling we have a flooded cylinder due to fuel draining out of the carburetor, down through the carburetor into the cylinder. Because when you step on it, well, isn't that just strange? The last time I tried to start this cart, it wouldn't do anything. It does smell strong of fuel. Okay, let's check the oil. I have a feeling that it's full of fuel. Oh yeah. The dipstick is wet all the way to here. It's only supposed to be wet to here. And I can smell gasoline in it. So there's definitely gas in the crankcase. So we're gonna have to change the oil, the filter, pull the carburetor and clean it, because that's the whole reason why this is doing it in the first place. I'm going to change the fuel filter anyway, so we'll just pull it. Let's check our air filter while we're here. Oh, that's a bit gnarly. Not terrible, but it's dirty. We're going to give them a new one. Well, sell them a new one. Okay. Change our white balance here to... I don't like these golf carts. I don't like the new EZGOs at all. I think they're terrible. I think this engine is terrible. It's a Kawasaki. I think this design here where the dipstick goes through the valve cover, that's stupid. You can't get to the oil filter without a special wrench. That's stupid. And the oil drain plug on these is plastic. Though there is two. There's one on the front of the motor and one on the back. And it's plastic. Plastic. A plastic oil drain plug on an engine that gets hot with hot oil. 200 plus degree oil. Good job, Kawasaki. Good job. Not. It can't siphon any more fuel out because it's now drained back into the tank. Alright, so up in there is our oil drain plug. See, here's the special wrench that I use. You put it on the end of a ratchet, and I have a little extension on it. You need this stupid thing in order to grab the filter, because there's no other way to get in there. And it's not like you can grab it by hand, because you can't get your hands in there. $19 mil. And we're going to drain from the back here in order to keep the mess down on the front. So what I got to do is I have to lower the engine a little bit, or the whole cart down just a hair. It's close. See how liquidy it is. I don't even have it opened all the way up yet. Yep, definitely gasoline on that oil. I can smell it, and it is strong. But oil doesn't run that liquidy like that. It's not like, it's coming out like water. I don't know why they did this, or what moron thought this was a good idea. But this drain plug, this is plastic. I don't care what kind of plastic it is. It could be space age, NASA grade, military grade plastic. I don't really care. It's plastic on an engine. The most critical part of the engine too. That thing fails, The engine's dropping its oil all over the road, and guess what? If you don't catch it, you got an engine rebuild coming your way. So dumb. All to save 13 cents. Bet you that plastic, actually I can tell you right now, that plastic drain plug costs more than the metal one does. And they strip out so easily. Like I can't even get this tight now because it won't tighten. I'm gonna have to put a socket on it, I bet. Yeah, that's it. The plastic's collapsing on itself. I can't even tighten it anymore. If that was metal, I'd be able to. If that was rounded off and it was metal, I'd be able to put a channel locks on it or a vice grips. All the dirt is falling off the cart. And then when you change this filter, oil just dribbles everywhere. Like it's such a messy design, like for oil changes, it's not even funny. This engine has me so irritated. I mean, I still work on them because I know how to do it, but it's such an irritating experience. Just look at it. You can't even get the oil filter off without making a mess. I don't like EZGOs. There's things about every manufacturer that I don't like, but I really don't like EZGOs at all. FIL0016 is the filter. There's just no way to work on this. It's so not well thought out. And then whoever thought using a 30 Torx bit, a number 30 Torx to hold the battery in, you need a kick in the ding dong too. All right, filter's on, plugs in. Let's get oil in it. Okay, so I don't know if you're going to be able to see that on the camera. It's a little high on the dipstick right now. It's about here, roughly. But once we start the engine and get the oil filter primed, it should be pretty good, right where it needs to be. Problem. We're getting more fuel than we should. It's actually blowing fuel. It's blowing fuel out the exhaust. So the engine is basically acting like a pump because the carburetor, oh, and I dropped my light, because the carburetor's stuck open, more or less. So what we're going to do is, we can't even crank the engine to prime it, so now we have to, let's get the carburetor pulled, which is right here. We'll get it cleaned and put back together, and that should solve that problem. I bet you this tube is going to have a bunch of gas in it too. Yep. Sure does. It's still dripping out of the carb. Of course it breaks off. There we go. This is just a terrible ass design. I know I've said it 100 times in this video, but it is. Remember, when you take this stuff apart, go slow so you don't destroy your gaskets. That way you don't have to replace them, because if you rip them, you got to change them, or at least you should. Now shut the key is off just so we don't get any misfiring. very careful with this plastic clip because it's cheap and it's plastic. And just like everything these days, everything's made at the lowest cost and sold at the highest price. Not just EZGOs. I know there have been some comments about the angle as far as getting a better view. Guys, what you have to realize is my priority is working on the cart, and my second priority, my last priority is camera angles, and I do my best. And plus I don't like touching my camera when my hands are like this, so it is what it is. Keep our fuel line up above our tank level here. We're good before it drains all over the floor. Alright, so it looks like carburetor. Oh, let's see if we can get it open now. The fuel inside the carb looks a little gnarly. I know my hand's in the way, just bear with me. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if I can block the hole. A little bit of debris in there. Well, we'll take it apart and clean it as best we can. Take it over the parts washer, we'll get this mud off, and then we'll take it apart again and clean the internals. This way we can get a thorough cleaning on it without getting this crap back inside. Alright, I'll be right back. Well, that certainly looks a lot better. It's much nicer to work on a cleaner carburetor than it is trying to work on a dirty one, for sure. Speaking of dirty, let's wipe this pan off. I've had some people tell me that I'm crazy for cleaning an oil pan, like an oil drain pan like this, where I keep it clean. And I say, I'm going to keep doing what I do because I like to do what I do. And the reason I keep this clean, for a couple of reasons. I rebuild carburetor, well, I don't rebuild them, but I clean carburetors on this thing because it's an oil drain pan and it's got a nice surface work area here. And I like to keep it clean, so if I grab it without gloves on, I'm not getting oil all over my hands. I'm not putting my bare hands in an oily mess. Just makes it for a much nicer area. See how nice and clean that is now? So now we can take the carburetor, get the screw out, the bolt, screw, whatever. There's some crap on the inside, but we'll get to that. First they changed the... Now I need a bigger screwdriver to take this apart. See if we can... carefully. There we go. See, these have a shoulder to them. Yeah, another part that used to be metal is now plastic. Float valve. And what I'm looking for are just all of the... See, there's a Welch plug there. You can remove that if you need to, but I don't think we do. I think we can leave it. And then they choose the softest materials for certain parts, so it makes it almost impossible to clean. I don't have a screwdriver that small, so we'll push it through until it flows nicely. Clean out all these little jets and ports until it flows clear. Carburetors are amazing devices, but as soon as they block up, they can become a nightmare. And I say nightmare as in, and I mean that as like, they can cause so many problems just by, oh, time for another can of carb cleaner. They can cause many problems just by being blocked by the smallest piece of debris. It's quite incredible how they do what they do. So here's the float valve. It's plastic. These used to be stainless steel or aluminum with either a machined tip, but now they're using a rubber tip. They are absolute crap. And then this side of this shaft has a flat spot, and then all you need to do is get it so it's inset into this arm here, or this tongue, and then it won't slide out. These carburetors that use plastic parts inside, I don't care what kind of plastic it is, it's a bad idea. It's a really bad idea. Don't be using plastic that's around a solvent-based fluid. I really don't like these RXVs. I don't like the new EZGOs at all. I really don't. Because once they start cheapening them up, it just really irks me. When manufacturers start cheapening these things up and they start charging so much money for them. It's really quite annoying. And this float valve is just not behaving the way I think it should. And there's no adjustment either. You can't even adjust it. It's a fixed adjustment. The metal ones, you'd at least be able to bend them and adjust them. It's plastic, you can't do that. Now it's working. Alright, I just gotta rinse the bowl out real quick. I can put that back together. Let's put this tiny ass screw back in. Just clean out this jet here. Hopefully this will work. Yeah, that's clean. This feels like a magnesium bowl. Feels like a magnesium bowl. Fuel line's connected, throttle, governor cable's connected. Now we're going to connect our choke. It's a little tricky because you got to spin it around so you can lift it out of that slot. And sometimes it just does not want to cooperate. It wants to be a little bastard. We'll put our cone on here. 10mm nuts, tighten it down. You don't go too tight because you will crack this. And it's basically for the air hose to connect to. The air inlet. Put that on. And then we'll tighten that up. You can slip this on. Once that clamp is in like the absolute worst position it could be in. Alright, theoretically this should fire right up. Smoke a little bit so it burns all the fuel out of the exhaust. Now we'll check the oil. Gonna have to change that spark plug, I know that. If we didn't get any fuel leakage into the oil, I think we'll be good with this part. Okay, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. The oil level is spot on, right where it needs to be. Alright, so this brake pedal is not locking. These are T45. Yeah, that's what they are. T45. I remember this being a special bit I had to order. It's gonna be out of focus, but pop these out. Pop these out. Take this one out. Take this one out. These are on the rocker. And then you take this one out. You shouldn't have to take this one off. This is on the side panel. But you take this one off here. This is on the forward kick plate. 3 screws on each side. When you get to see what kind of a mess you're getting into. There's a couple of Christmas trees I may have to remove. Didn't see them, so I didn't remove them. And here's another one here. Oh, they're in the bottom here. Okay, let's see where they go. By the pedal. I'll show you when we put them back. Okay. Alright, so we have the carpet up. We're going to lift up this access panel. You can see where somebody has pulled some wires and barely ran them properly. More Christmas trees. Okay. Lift this up and out of the way. Quite simple, actually. Wow. Alright, so here you can see this lever here has basically just come off of the socket, it looks like. So let's see if we can snap that back into place. Oh, there it goes. And that's supposed to kick it off. At least that's how it's supposed to work. When you press on the brake and lock it, it's supposed to reach around and lock on the parking pawl. And then when you step on the gas pedal is supposed to release it. But that is really, really hard. But that's the reason why that's not working, wasn't working properly, was because that lever was stuck in the unlocked position. And that'll do it every time. So it looks like that's working as it should. So let's get some red grease down in here just to kind of lubricate it and see if that helps without replacing any parts. So I like to use this red grease, this 2+2. It's basically a liquid form when it sprays out, and then it turns into like a gel. Like it gets very gel-like. And it goes a very long way. So I just put a little, I don't know, I'm hoping you guys can see this. It's really hard to get in here with this angle. But I just put a little dab. That locked into place nicely. See, these are not made to be serviceable, which kind of sucks. And then I'll put a little bit of red grease on our parking pawl. And that should make it work a little smoother. And then somebody ran the brake light switch wire over the throttle cable like a damn fool. So what we're gonna do is route it under. Actually, I can run this over this way because of there's very little movement. I just didn't want it resting on this cable because it could interfere. Alright, so our throttle cable's working. This has a stop switch underneath the gas pedal here. And then they have this stupid rubber ass grommet, weather grommet. The plastic body on a steel frame. So we're gonna try that and see what happens. Also, I'm gonna give this a little bit of grease here. Metal on metal. This stuff doesn't have any way to service it regularly. So when it rusts up and has to be replaced, you're grinding it away with angle grinder and whatnot. So do a little preventative maintenance because let's actually reroute this down here like so. So this actually will be a lot cleaner than it was when it was originally installed. And this is basically just a stop switch for the brake lights. When you step on the pedal, it'll turn the brake lights on. That way there's no timers to deal with. And I personally don't like the timer because if you park the cart for storage and you don't disconnect the light kit, the timer will actually draw the battery down. So now what I'll do is I will replace or return our pedal cover assembly. Put this back in place. I'm gonna take our Christmas trees, and that's why there's that hump there, because that wire is in the way. Let's see if we can do this without smashing the camera. Alright, so the way this is supposed to work now, you step on the pedal and you're going down the road, and then you stop and you want to be able to lock the brake like so, and then you kick the pedal, the brake. You could also hit the brake pedal like so to disengage it, and then lock it. And then okay, that is a result. So, alright guys, that's a result. That's a good clean carburetor. It seems to be running pretty good now. The parking brake is working like it should. I want to thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to check out the video's description for product links to items I use every single day to bring you these videos and to run my business. Check out my Facebook page, website, and Patreon page. And until next time, we will see you in the next video.